Milena smiled. We sacrifice a bit of glamour for security. Make yourself comfortable. I'll get tea started and notify the rest of the team. You can use the secure Wi-Fi, said FBI_Belgrade. Password is in your email, but avoid making calls or texting on public networks. Emily nodded. Understood. Milena handed her a small pouch of dried fruit, sunflower seeds, and bottled water before heading out. Left alone, Emily sank into the velvet sofa, heart pounding, as the rain pattered against the windows. She closed her eyes and let memories of Geneva wash over her, the first meeting with Aiden, long nights tracing IP addresses, the blackout meltdown, everything that had led to this precarious moment. She repeated in her mind, I have to be strong. Aiden is counting on me. I cannot falter. Footsteps echoed from the hallway. Agent Luka Petrovic, a Serbian Interpol specialist, entered. He was tall, shaved head, wearing a black Interpol windbreaker and a messenger bag slung across his chest. His gaze was steady and intense. He offered a curt nod. Carter? I'm Petrovic. Welcome to Safe House Number 2. We'll coordinate video calls with Moore and Sinclair a bit later. How are you holding up? Emily rose to greet him. Thank you, Petrovic. I'm all right, just jet-lagged. Thank you for the pickup. He nodded. We don't have much time. BlackEagle could be operating anywhere in Belgrade. Let's meet in the briefing room to get you up to speed. Emily followed him further inside. He locked the door behind them, ensuring absolute privacy. The living room remained silent, betraying no hint of the impending urgency inside. By 10 a.m., Emily sat in a small conference room within the safe house. The overhead LED light gleamed over a 55-inch TV screen displaying FBI, Interpol joint session. A 4K camera focused on her spot at the table. On the screen opposite, Lucas Moore from Geneva appeared, his face haggard from 2 sleepless nights. Sophia Russo also glowed in Lucas's corner, her concern evident. Aiden Sinclair filled the far window, seated in his makeshift Belgrade office, cognac bottle on a table next to him and a poster of the Belgrade skyline on the wall behind. Emily exhaled and straightened her posture. Good morning, everyone. I've settled in at Safe House Number 2. Lucas smiled encouragingly. Excellent. Do you have your latest report? We saw the data from Belgrade last night, but BlackEagle may have gone underground already. Emily clicked a button on her laptop to share her screen. Here are the 30 BTC remaining on Serbia Central Exchange. I ran a cluster analysis. It reveals the funds were split into 3 equal lots of 10 BTC each. The first 10 BTC currently sits in account SRX 4600, under a new alias registered to the email mafia.ser@gmail.com. I am fairly certain mafia.ser is the BlackEagle alias operating in the Balkans. Sophia leaned forward. At gmail.com? They're using a public email. That's surprisingly bold, but be cautious, FBI doesn't control those servers. Still, it might be a vulnerability. Aiden typed quickly at his end. Can you run an OSINT check on mafia.ser? We need to see if any public footprints exist, registration IP, forum posts, anything. Emily tilted her head and began typing on her local VM. Understood. I'm opening Tor browser. Typing mafia.ser@gmail.com into a known underground forum directory. Here's a listing on balkanunderground.net from March 2025, username Serb_Godfather. The registration IP is logged as 176.36.22.45, a public internet cafe in Novi Sad. Lucas frowned. That places them about 80 kilometers north of Belgrade, alongside the Danube. They could split operations between the 2 cities. Can you request Novi Sad's police to trace that IP range? Emily looked to Aiden. I've already sent a request via Interpol. They need a list of suspect IPs, so I forwarded 176.36.22.45 and 185.45.21.79. They assured me they'd run an immediate trace. Aiden nodded. Perfect. Proceed with that. I'll fly up to Novi Sad tomorrow afternoon to assist in person. Lucas checked the clock on his screen. All right. Team splits. Team 1, Sinclair, Carter, and Interpol Serbia, will head to Novi Sad to work with a local NS MUP to capture Serb_Godfather. Team 2, Moore, Russo, and Marcus, stay in Geneva to continue monitoring crypto flows across Europe. Carter, you will coordinate with the NS MUP on the ground. Sophia and I will provide remote support from Geneva. Sound good? They all replied in unison. Yes, sir. Aiden's face softened as he looked at Emily through the camera. After this call, take a little rest. We depart for Novi Sad at 7 a.m. tomorrow. I'm so grateful to have you by my side. Emily nodded and offered him a small, confident smile. I'm ready. As long as you're with me, I'm not afraid. Sophia cut in from Geneva. Get some rest. This could heat up at any moment. Emily smiled, shutting her laptop and disabling the camera. The safe house was silent save for the rain's faint patter. Her eyes reflected both determination and a trace of anxiety. She gently patted her coat pocket where Aiden's letter lay, reminding herself, whatever happens tomorrow, I will stand firm, together with him. The next morning at 7 a.m., Emily woke in the snug little bedroom. The single bed's thick comforter and the radiator beneath the pale cream curtains offered warmth against the chill outside. She rose, drew back the drapes, and saw the lingering mist over the quiet streets. Wrapping her wool coat tightly, she padded to the kitchenette to brew a strong cup of mint tea. One sip cleared the fog of drowsiness. She brushed her teeth with the Interpol-issued toothbrush and toothpaste, then changed into a midnight blue wool midi skirt, camel brown cashmere sweater, and a tailored black blazer. Over tight black ankle boots, she packed a carry-on with passport, phone, and laptop. From the kitchenette, Milena held out 2 mugs of dark coffee. Morning, Carter. Milena greeted. Breakfast is ready. A vehicle will pick you up in an hour. Today's weather is mild, good luck out there. Emily sat on the velvet sofa, swiped through her email, and saw Interpol Serbia had sent her a high-speed train ticket for Belgrade to Novi Sad at 10:15 a.m. The Serbian Railways high-speed service would take roughly 1 hour 10 minutes, with secure Wi-Fi and reserved seats. Attached was a file named coinsalert.jpg saying, if you see wallet 1N49DFFA hey, danger awaits. She absorbed the details. They stopped the initial 1000 BTC at Belund, but 30 BTC remain hidden. Our job is to pin down Serb_Godfather in Novi Sad. She allowed herself a small grin of resolve. We can do this. It was now May 21, 2025, at 10 a.m., and she stood on the platform of Belgrade Central Railway Station. The sprawling station, with its iron and steel roof and worn concrete floors, felt distinctly Austro-Hungarian. Under the flickering yellow lights above Platform 2, the BGNS 163 train to Novi Sad was waiting, its gleaming white and blue cars marked with the Serbia Railways emblem. Emily climbed aboard and located cabin 6, the seat reserved for her by Interpol. Inside, she found Agent Dragan Popovic, her NS MUP contact in Novi Sad, sitting by the window with a cup of coffee and a folded copy of Blik, the Serbian daily. He was in his mid-30s, broad-shouldered, wearing a dark wool coat and a thick scarf. Without looking up, he spoke. Miss Carter? I'm Popovic. It's good to have you here. Emily offered a polite nod and took a seat across from him. Through the rain-speckled window, rolling hills shimmered in the mist. Thank you. I appreciate NS MUP's assistance. What can you share about the case so far? Dragan set his newspaper on the table. We received Interpol's request. The wallet Serb_Godfather holds about 30 BTC, suspected to finance weapons trafficking across the Western Balkans. The funds likely moved to an alias wallet. We need to intercept it. Emily leaned forward. So we must unmask wallet SRX 4600 to prevent illicit goods from moving. Where do we begin? Dragan nodded gravely. We believe Serb_Godfather is really a local gangster named Nenad Markovic. He was indicted for narcotics trafficking in Novi Sad. He often traffics through a bar called Kafana Zuzara in the Detelinara district. My team has been staking out that alley. Emily's eyes lit up. If we can locate him physically and match him to the wallet, we can seize the funds. Do you have a photo? Dragan produced his smartphone, revealing a grainy mugshot, a tall man with a shaved head, bushy eyebrows, wearing a black leather jacket, ripped jeans, and a messenger bag. He was peering down at his phone in a dimly lit bar alley. We spotted him there this morning. He looked up just long enough for us to get that shot. I suspect there's a transaction today. We need to move now. Emily swallowed. So it's him. How do you want to proceed? Dragan offered a small, knowing grin. I suggest a two-pronged approach. First, we need to track his phone. I have reason to believe the wallet is registered with his Serbian mobile number, +38 1630215547. We can send a spoofed verification SMS link tracker Serb, encoded to reveal his GPS. Once he clicks, we'll know his precise location. Then my unit can move in. Emily steeled herself. Excellent. I'll draft the spoof message now. Something like, BTC 30 security check required, click to verify, https://t.co/serbtracker. If he opens it, we pinpoint him instantly. Dragan nodded approvingly. Perfect. Keep it operational in both Belgrade and Novi Sad. Once we have his location, we cut him off at Kafana Zuzara. The train slowed to a halt at Novi Sad. A horn sounded through the misty station. The platform's mosaic paved floor spilled a damp chill into the air. Emily felt her heart hammer as they disembarked. Dragan helped her with her suitcase. Here we are. Watch your step. Rain dripped from her hood as they emerged onto the slick platform. Ahead was the neon sign Welcome to Novi Sad. The smell of coffee lingered, and a few taxis idled nearby. Emily's mind raced. We're so close. If he clicks that link. But what if he doesn't? They climbed into a black taxi waiting curbside. Emily fumbled through her phone, opened the SMS spoof app, and entered +38,163,021,547. With a trembling thumb, she typed. BTC 30 security check required, click to verify, https://t.co/serbtracker. Her finger hovered for a moment before pressing send. The message vanished from her screen, confirmed in the app's sent log. Message sent, 23:47, local time. At that instant, Dragan started the taxi. Emily settled into the back seat, eyeing the narrowed city streets as they pulled away. Through the rain-speckled window, old brick buildings dripped moisture onto the slick pavement. If he clicks. At 8:15 p.m., the taxi stopped before a dimly lit alley marked Kafana Zuzara. The bar's sign glowed crimson, casting shadows on the wet street. Emily and Dragan exited into the drizzle. Dragan hoisted her small suitcase, but Emily took just a moment before stepping inside. The bar's interior was cloaked in darkness, lit only by flickering oil lanterns above scratchy wooden tables. The smell of rakia, distilled fruit brandy, hung thick in the air. Patrons with hardened faces lingered in shadowed corners, whispering in hushed tones. Waiting until that unmistakable figure appeared, a tall man in a black leather jacket, heavy boots, and a messenger bag. She recognized him in an instant, Nenad Markovic, alias Serb_Godfather. He was seated in the far right corner, tapping idly on his phone. When his eyes lifted, they found Emily's gaze. For a split second, he froze, suspicion crossing his features before he returned to scrolling. At that moment, his phone buzzed loudly with an incoming SMS labeled Serbia Central Bank Alerts. He casually tapped the message, and lightning fast, a data packet sprinted to Interpol Serbia's server, transmitting his GPS coordinates. Dragan placed a hand on Emily's shoulder and exclaimed quietly, "He clicked. It worked." From outside, the roar of sirens cut through the bar's dim hush. Red and blue lights flared through the rain as multiple police vehicles screeched into the lot. Dragan nudged Emily behind a wooden support beam just as Nenad shot to his feet, a scowl twisting his face. "Get me out of here," he snapped, reaching under his jacket for a pistol. Dragan drew his service weapon and fired a warning shot that slammed into the bar's brick wall. "Drop it now, or you'll regret it." Nenad snarled, then spat at Dragan's feet. "You've got the wrong man. I'm nobody." When Dragan advanced, Nenad hurled the pistol onto the floor and bolted for a side exit. "After him. Don't let him cross the tracks." Dragan barked into his radio. Two NSMUP officers darted past Emily through the back door. She followed close behind, rain pelting her hood, desperate not to lose sight of him. Nenad's heavy boots slapped wet pavement as he darted toward a pedestrian overpass over a narrow canal. Dragan lunged ahead, shouting, "Nenad, stay where you are." Nenad skidded to a halt at the top of a short set of stairs by the canal bridge. He held a battered suitcase, clearly a decoy, as it rattled empty inside. Dragan leveled his gun. "Hand over the seed phrase, or I will have to arrest you here," he growled. Nenad's jaw tightened. "You're too late. That money's gone to an auction house already. You'll never catch me." He hurled the case down the steps and dove into the alley's shadow. Dragan and the officers shouted as they gave chase, but the alleyways were narrow, and the rain-soaked cobblestones slowed their pursuit. Soon, the fugitive's footsteps vanished into the maze. Panting, Dragan radioed dispatch. "He's heading south toward Zeleny Vanets Market. Track that IP immediately." Emily, drenched and terrified, wrapped her arms around herself. She whispered, "He tossed a decoy. He's on to us. But at least we know where he is now." Dragan clenched his jaw. "We lost him in the labyrinth, but the IP ping confirms his location. We'll close in tomorrow morning." In the dripping night, Emily and Dragan trudged back through the downpour to the taxi. As they passed over the canal's footbridge, the city's ancient buildings glistened in the lamplight. Emily's chest tightened as she recalled Aiden's letter and how far she had come. "We will catch him," she thought, "for Aiden, for justice." Back at safe house number 2, Emily collapsed onto the sofa, shivering from the cold and adrenaline. Dragan set a steaming cup of coffee on the table. The lamp's warm glow cut through the gloom of the room. "Nenad Markovic underestimated you," Dragan remarked softly. "He thought he could outsmart us. Let him roam tonight. Tomorrow, the full NSMUP unit will be on his trail." Emily rubbed her arms to chase away the damp chill. I keep thinking of Aiden. He could be in danger, too. I have to keep going." Dragan offered a gentle smile. "Aiden is careful, but you have every right to worry. He's not in the field yet, but he will be soon. I'll ensure he gets full protection." Emily managed a grateful nod. "Thank you. But I must remain strong." He patted her shoulder. "You have been strong. Now rest. Tomorrow is when we strike back." As Emily climbed the stairs to her bedroom, the rain still whispered on the windows. The single bed under thick blankets beckoned. She pulled out the photograph of her and Aiden at La Belle Vie, brushing her fingertips over his smiling face. The night's events replayed in her mind, the message, the chase, the cold realization that Nenad might slip through. In her heart, she traced a vow: love and justice will light our way, even through the darkest storm. She lay back against the pillow, drawing the quilt tight. The rain softened to a steady murmur. Tomorrow's dawn promised decisive action, with Dragan and NSMUP closing in on Novi Sad, and Aiden arriving to fortify their efforts. The web of BlackEagle would soon unravel. For now, she let her thoughts drift, and as the sullen city slept outside, Emily Carter finally surrendered to sleep, gathering strength for the dawn ahead. A thin fog still clung to Belgrade's old quarter when the first pale rays of dawn lifted the mist from the rooftops. Amelia Emily Carter awoke inside safe house number 2. The small bedroom glowed warmly under the bedside lamp's soft yellow light. A narrow crack in the window allowed a chilly breeze to slip inside. The drizzle had stopped entirely by morning, leaving only a few wispy dewdrops on the oak leaves outside. Emily stretched, drawing her shoulders inward for a moment so that the early morning chill wouldn't creep into her bones. The tick-tock clock on the wall just chimed 6:15 a.m. A long, urgent day lay ahead. The data Popovich had gathered from Kafana Zuzara last night awaited detailed analysis. This morning, Emily was supposed to head to Novi Sad with Agent Luka Petrovic of the NSMUP to coordinate the raid on the alias Serb_Godfather, Nenad Markovic. However, just a few minutes after she dozed off, Emily suddenly remembered. Last night she'd encrypted the Serb tracker file and sent it to Popovich for route verification. That meant she needed extra time to review all the data before leaving the safe house. She sat up, slipped her bare feet onto the warm wood floor, and wrapped the comforter tightly around herself to keep warm. Her mind still held traces of a dream about Aiden, him stepping into the analysis room in Geneva, his eyes filled with pride and worry for her. Though she lay here in Belgrade, she could still feel the peaceful warmth he had sent her. Downstairs, Emily stopped by the small kitchen. The mint tea from last night still gave off a gentle sweetness. She put the kettle on, inhaled the tea's fragrance, and then ladled a bowl of vegetable soup Milena had prepared. The soft clink of the spoon against the ceramic bowl helped her wake up more fully. Outside the window, the mist was thinning to reveal faded rooftops and the mossy green of the rain barrel. While sipping her soup, she opened her laptop and navigated to the Serb tracker _results folder on the USB Popovich had provided. The first file, the Lund_binary_decoded.csv, detailed the 30 BTC transactions, timestamps, locations, each final movement. Scrolling down, she saw this note in Popovich's handwriting. Need_confirm, 30 BTC deal at Kafana Zuzara, time 2015. Urgent_raid. Just reading Kafana Zuzara reminded her, last night's raid there had been chaotic. Popovich and NSMUP officers Dragan Jovic and Milan Pavlovich had burst in to arrest him, but he'd thrown down the suitcase of fake money and bolted, claiming the real funds are safe as he fled. In his escape, he'd clicked the link she'd sent, and the tracker software, integrated with Interpol Serbia, had pinpointed the NSMUP headquarters at the Blick newspaper offices, housed in an old fire station. She sighed and murmured, this time he's still hiding in the city. If we're not careful, he will vanish again. The warm soup slid down her throat. Emily set the bowl aside and opened Popovich_instructions.pdf. Its instructions for apprehending him read: 7 a.m., Luka and Dragan will drive to Novi Sad to coordinate with the local NSMUP. He must not touch his phone, he's been leaking intel via mafia.ser@gmail.com. Bring him back to Belgrade for full interrogation. Emily nodded. He knows I'm tracking him. That means he still holds the initiative. Luka and I must work tightly together. She quickly drafted an internal email to Lucas Moore in Geneva, summarizing all developments and inviting him to an 8 a.m. video briefing. Then she password protected the original file and clicked send. Moments later, Lucas replied, "Get it. We'll meet at 8 o'clock. Don't delay, Carter." A flicker of tension surged through her, but she also felt steadier knowing Lucas remained engaged. She closed her laptop, walked back to the living room, and cracked open the window wide to clear out the stale air. At 8 a.m., Emily took her seat at the safe house meeting table, sitting beside Agent Luka Petrovic. The 55-inch TV screen was already set for video conferencing, awaiting Lucas, Sophia, and Aiden. On the Geneva side, the screen flickered on to reveal Lucas Moore, his eyes hollow from sleepless nights, a cup of coffee perched beside his laptop, and, next to him, Agent Sophia Russo, her face still marked by worry. In the upper right of the screen appeared Aiden Sinclair's kindly, slightly weary visage, as he sat before a cognac bottle in the Belgrade safe house number 1. Lucas opened the briefing. "Good morning, Carter. What's the situation in Novi Sad?" Emily inhaled, then spoke clearly. "Sir, we have processed the data." Markovich, alias Serb_Godfather, clicked the link but slipped away from Kafana Zuzara at 2015. "Popovich and I will continue the chase. He's still loose in the city." Luka Petrovic summarized swiftly. Markovich fled southwest across Veredin Bridge, possibly heading toward Zeleny Vainets Market or into the Fruskagora Hills. He may contact the old BlackEagle network. Last night we saw his phone dial Mika Shapov, a known Bosnian crime figure. Sofia added. Interpol Sarajevo just reported, Mika Shapov is in Banja Luka and has transferred another 15 BTC into a segmented wallet. Markovich may attempt to cross into Bosnia soon. Aiden narrowed his eyes. If so, we can set up ambush points along his escape route. First, we must intercept Mika in Banja Luka. Carter, team up with Interpol Sarajevo, get that 15 BTC route blocked immediately. I'll fly from Belgrade to Banja Luka at 11 a.m. Emily nodded, taking notes. Understood. I will ask Milena to coordinate with Interpol Sarajevo right away. Meanwhile, I will keep monitoring central Belgrade. Markovich could be hiding in Zemun or Dorkal. Lucas paused, serious. Carter, stay with Luka at all times. Banja Luka can be volatile at night, even with Interpol's local liaison. We'll back you remotely from Geneva. Aiden smiled and tapped the screen. Carter, be safe. Stick close to Luka. Let me know when you're ready, I'll seize the earliest flight. Emily offered him a faint, determined grin. Yes, sir. Lucas concluded the call and turned off his camera. Alone, Emily and Luka faced each other, the room's warm light revealing Luka's weary expression. Carter, we must leave in 30 minutes. We'll follow this route, Veredin Bridge TRG Republic Zeleny Vainets. We need to inspect every CCTV in the market area. Emily nodded, her eyes steeled with resolve. I'll gather my things immediately. At 8:30 a.m., Emily and Luka slipped out of safe house number 2 in 2 black Honda CR versus both wore raincoats, wool scarves, gloves, and surgical masks to conceal their identities. Their license plates were blacked out, and their windows were privacy tinted. Behind them, Popovich's Chevy Suburban trailed silently. They drove along the Zoran Dindik Boulevard toward Veredin Bridge, which spanned the Sava River. Mist clung to the water's surface, and the weathered rooftops gradually emerged from the gloom. At the bridge, they parked by the railing and stepped out. Luka pointed across the river, tapping his GPS map. I see his vehicle track from around 2100 hours last night. He ran straight from this bridge down to TRG Republic. We'll follow the riverside path, guided by the GPS coordinates. Emily nodded and scanned the embankment, where only a few early morning walkers strolled. A handful of wooden boats lay moored, gently rocking as the water lapped below. The hazy atmosphere set her nerves on edge, Nenad could be hiding anywhere along this underpass, or slipping into a side alley. They followed the cobblestone riverside walkway, using small flashlights to examine each stone underfoot. Upon reaching TRG Republic, the city's central plaza, Emily noticed a few mobile stalls selling toasted bread, but no customers. Luca crouched to the ground, held his phone close to a streetlight pole, and activated the CCTV Finder app. A faint blue dot lit up over the lens force. She shone her phone's flashlight at the camera to regain a feed. CCTV clip, May 19, 2025-2020, Kafana Zuzara's front door, showing Nenad dropping the suitcase and running into the alley. Exactly, Luca said. From there, he angled toward TRG Republic and took a right onto Floryanska Street. Emily studied the timestamp. Yes. I see him crossing the bridge, walking carefully, looking around, then losing signal. Luca slammed his foot into the cracked pavement in frustration. He's too cunning. He turned off his phone, cut the feed. Now we have to rely on eyewitness accounts. Emily switched on her phone's translation app from Serbian to English and typed. Excuse me, sir. My name is Marco. This morning around 2100 hours, did you see a tall man wearing a black leather jacket, hood pulled up, running through this area? They questioned a stall vendor selling second-hand clothes, no memory. They asked street sweepers, no recollection. Finally, an elderly souvenirs vendor nodded slowly. I remember. A good while ago, a well-built man looked around carefully, then pocketed something before sprinting off. The old man scratched his head. Yes, he headed toward the Prirodno Muse, Natural History Museum. I saw him slip into a narrow lane beside it, Resavska Street. Emily's heart pounded. She had to get to Resavska. She and Luca hurried back to their vehicles. The taxi driver, eyes hidden by a baseball cap, gripped the wheel as they entered the quiet side street. Emily braced herself. This street is always dark. He could be anywhere behind any door. Luca's voice was steady. We'll split up. I'll go straight down the alley, you circle around from the back entrances. Don't let him see us both heading in his direction. They stepped out onto the smooth, damp cobblestones. Resavska's narrow alley was flanked by crumbling brick buildings with dark, boarded windows. One door on the left stood slightly ajar. Behind it was a musty odor of mildew. Emily shrank against the wall, wary of every shadow. He might be inside, or hiding under the broken floorboards. Suddenly, Luca raised his flashlight to a fresh footprint trailing toward the partially open door. Look, wet footprints lead here. He must have squeezed through. Emily crept toward him, heart in her throat. He gently pushed the door open. Inside, a single dim bulb cast a faint circle of light onto a dusty floor. A small, battered black suitcase lay in one corner. Emily's breath caught as Luca whispered. That's him, Nenad Markovich. He stooped to examine the footprint, but in that instant, Nenad startled, spinning around to reveal his face half hidden by the hood. He was clutching a cell phone tightly. Emily held her breath. This is him. Serb_Godfather. Nenad saw her and snarled, reaching behind him. In that flash, Emily realized he pulled out not a gun but a disguised stun baton pen. He hissed. You shouldn't have come. Expect to pay the price. Emily lunged forward, shining her phone's flashlight into his eyes and simultaneously hitting the emergency call button. Popovich, my location is Resavska. I've found Nenad Markovich. Arrest him now. A faint click came through the phone. Nenad scoffed, twisting away, and waved the stun baton. You think you can catch me? No one can hold me. I've covered my tracks. He jabbed the baton into Emily's shoulder. A jolt of pain shot through her, and she staggered, dropping to one knee. Oof. Nenad sneered. I won't kill you, little FBI girl. You'll watch BlackEagle rise again. As long as I have this money, nothing will stop me. Don't count on that rich boyfriend of yours to save you." He slapped her across the face with the back of his hand and bent to feel under her shoe for the GPS tracker. "You really thought you could track me? Ha! I turned off your tracker at 8:20 p.m. Your whole scheme is useless." Emily tumbled face first onto the cold floor, tears stinging her cheeks. She could taste damp rot mixed with her own sweat and fear. "Nenad, why are you still here? Aiden's on his way, but if he can't get here in time." Nenad laughed hoarsely, picking up the fake suitcase as he straightened. He reached for his handheld radio. "Dmitri, come fetch our guest. Headquarters in Belgrade just ordered that she's worth 10 times more than any amount of BTC. Candy Apple is willing to pay top dollar." Outside, distant sirens wailed, but they had not yet reached Resavska. Nenad grinned coldly. "Goodbye, Emily Carter. I'll take you straight to the FBI's front door and expose the entire network. Enjoy your stay in Belgrade, things are about to get very interesting." Hoisting the suitcase onto his shoulder, he strode into the night, disappearing into the drizzling gloom. Emily struggled to push herself upright, tears streaming as she groped for the radio, then stared at the suitcase he'd left behind. "Why me? Aiden. Will he make it in time?" Her voice trembled as she gathered what remained of her strength. "I can't give up now. I must keep whatever hope I have left." In the empty safe house, the rain pattered softly against the windows. Emily curled up on the sofa, shivering in both body and spirit. She remembered Geneva's safety, her days of work at the analysis room, the comforting warmth of Aiden's presence. But now, in Belgrade, the darkness felt more suffocating than ever. She climbed the narrow staircase to her small bedroom. The room was stripped down, a single bed under thick covers, a low window letting in silvery dawn light. She placed the battered photograph of her and Aiden at La Belle Vie on the bedside table, gently brushing away a speck of dust from his smiling face. She whispered to herself, voice quivering, "Love will see me through this. No matter how dark the night, I will hold on until sunrise." And as the rain lulled back to a steady drizzle, Emily Carter finally let her eyes close, determined to draw strength from that promise. Tomorrow's dawn would bring its own challenges, but she would meet them head-on, for herself and for Aiden. The surface of the Sava River remained shrouded in mist as dawn broke, pale light filtering through the windows of safe house number 2. Emily Carter woke in a cold sweat, still reeling from the shock of Nenad Markovich's stun baton strike. In her mind, fragmented images of that violent moment replayed endlessly, Nenad's hand driving the baton into her shoulder, his eyes glittering with cruelty as he declared, "BlackEagle will prevail." And then the echo of the warning shot that rang out through the alleyway. She startled awake in the chilly darkness, reflexively clutching her pillow to push away the sting of pain. The warm glow of the bedside lamp illuminated the walls but did nothing to soothe the tremor racing through her heart. Last night's blow left not only a bruise blooming on her right shoulder but a psychological scar, an acute sense of betrayal and forced ejection from her place of safety. She sat up silently, pressing her hand into the edge of the mattress, swallowing against the lingering dizziness. With her tracker software temporarily disabled and Nenad's empty suitcase proving he was far more than a common thief, he was the Serb_Godfather, possessing the crucial secret to his ascent in the criminal underworld, she realized she couldn't remain here another moment. A promise at 11 a.m. rang in her mind, Aiden would fly from Belgrade to Banja Luka today. But now all she could do was steady herself mentally, I must contact Luka, make sure he knows the full truth. She reached for her phone, miraculously, it still had a sliver of battery, and tapped in Agent Luka Petrovic's number. "Luka. It's Carter. I'm almost out of power. Are you okay? Where are you?" On the other end, Luka's voice crackled with distant sirens, "Carter. The others have lost Nenad's trail. All traffic cameras around Kafana Zuzara were disabled. We're working on restoring the system around Zeleny Vaynets, but he was too fast. Emily exhaled a shaky breath. Any new orders? My GPS tracker's down. Luca's tone darkened. Dragan and I will sweep Resavska Dorkal one last time. But right now, we need you safe. Make sure safe house number 2 is secure, then move to safe house number 3 in Zemun. Don't stay there another second. Emily bit her lip, heart heavy. Understood. I'll go now. She set the phone aside, cold sweat beading on her forehead. Remaining seated for a moment, she gathered her breath, then slid out of bed and descended to the living area. Safe house number 2 was steeped in muted yellow light, the stale air tinged by distant police sirens. On the coffee table lay Nenad's black suitcase, now caked with mudscuffs from Resavska, lying empty. She bent to retrieve the small GPS unit he'd ripped from her shoe. The cold metal piece clinked into her palm, a stark reminder not to give up. Quickly, she grabbed a Panadol and swallowed it dry to dull her throbbing head, then fished a bottle of water from the refrigerator and gulped it down to clear her mind. Her eyes swept the room: emerald velvet sofa, the old wooden coffee table, a single Serbian language book left on the shelf, each familiar object now seeming to mock her sense of loss. All the little comforts where she once found peace were now ruins. I cannot break. Aiden is en route to Banja Luka. Lucas and Dragan are scouring Belgrade. I must move. She folded her scarf, grabbed the small overnight bag she'd prepared last night, and squared her shoulders, though her body still trembled from the blow. Pausing at the window, she peered outside. Mist still clung to the rooftops, a few street lamps flickered, and Resavska Street behind her lay silent. To put Aiden at ease. She reminded herself, and turned away. At 8:30 a.m., under a fine drizzle, raindrops falling so lightly they barely formed puddles, 2 black vehicles slid into the alley. Emily and Luca quietly locked the safe house number 2 door, then slipped into a VW transporter driven by Dragan. Inside, just the 3 of them, engine humming, the heater's warm draft pushing back the morning chill. Luca glanced over at her. Carter, do you remember the code for safe house number 3 in Zemun? 2456A, she replied. Good. Once you arrive, Dragan will get you inside. Keep this location strictly confidential, no one should know we're moving there. Luca tapped the dashboard, eyes fixed on the winding road. This phase is the most dangerous. Every camera, every surveillance system in Belgrade could be targeted by BlackEagle. Don't over-rely on technology. Emily nodded, her gaze steady with determination. Understood. The drive took them through Dorkal's narrow, aged lanes and across Zemun Bridge, a concrete span blanketed in mist, linking them to Zemun's historic quarter. On the far bank, the old town's red-tiled roofs shimmered in the haze. Turning a final corner revealed a small cobblestone lane flanked by tall iron fences. In its center stood safe house number 3, a modest villa with sturdy beige walls, neatly trimmed boxwood flanking the steps, and a red-tiled porch whose slabs were cracked in places. Dragan eased to a stop. Luca pressed the intercom. Beep, 2456A. The iron gate clanged open, warm yellow light spilling across the brick courtyard. As the gate swung wide, Agent Milena Kovacevic, waiting inside, stepped forward, her face set with resolute care. Carter, come inside. Lock up behind you. Emily hurried in, Dragan wheeling her suitcase, Milena at her flank. Taking in the villa, she noticed a small bungalow garden to the side where a few purple roses struggled to bloom, a tiled porch with several missing shards of terracotta. Inside, the living room exuded a gentle warmth: brown leather sofas, a plush rug, an unlit wood stove, and a wall-mounted TV. A mini refrigerator and a teapot sat ready on the counter. This semblance of comfort felt almost too tranquil, an artificial veil to lull one into complacency. Yet Emily understood, beneath this calm lay the storm of what had just transpired. At 9 a.m., Emily perched on a sofa, sipping raw apple juice Milena had poured. Milena and Luca had just finished a quick perimeter sweep. No strangers were sighted. Milena's gaze softened as she spoke. "Carter, can you rest a moment? You took quite a hit yesterday." Emily offered a wan smile, though her eyes remained shadowed with fatigue. "I need to collect myself in order to file my report to Lucas. He'll direct our next steps." Milena tapped her phone to initiate a video call to Agent Lucas Moore. "Lucas, we've moved Carter to safe house number 3. She's safe but shaken. I've relayed all data from last night's operation. Markovich may attempt to cross into Bosnia." Lucas's worn, alert eyes filled the screen, though his exhaustion showed. "Understood. Upload all Serb tracker files and resave the CCTV logs to the FBI server. Sofia and I will analyze them carefully today. As for Carter, I'll fly to Belgrade at 11 a.m., stopping briefly at Interpol Belgrade. Keep her safe." Emily reached out, placing her hand on her laptop's camera lens. Tears trembled behind her smile. "I will. I'm sorry for putting everyone at risk." Lucas's smile was gentle, his voice encouraging. "No blame, Carter. You've done excellent work. Now rest, and remember to smile." Milena switched off the call and turned back to Emily, voice warm. "Carter, you'll need every bit of mental strength for what's ahead. Think of that smile Lucas mentioned. Keep it burning." Emily nodded, clutching her cup of juice. Her eyes, though haunted, glowed with renewed resolve. "I will." By 10 a.m., Emily sat at the workbench in safe house number 3, laptop glowing, Intelnet, logged in as E. Carter. GVA. BGD. She opened the folder BNB_report_BGD_novidata.xlsx, the spreadsheet Lucas had just uploaded. Multiple sheets detailed BTC cluster analysis, resaved the CCTV tags, Interpol Sarajevo contacts, and more. She hurriedly scanned the rows, jotting notes. SRX 4600, 30 BTC moved to wallet Serb_Godfather_2 at 21:30 on May 19, 2025, via Serbia Central Exchange. Nenad Markovic, alias Serb_Godfather_2, IP +381 63 021 547, registered at Novi Sad Internet Cafe. Prediction: he's likely to coordinate with Mika Shapov in Banja Luka for the additional 15 BTC. Tactics: Tau, track and use. Method: use mix coin logs and seed keys to set up a pinpoint ambush. She shivered. The mission is no longer to chase him in Belgrade, we must intercept those 15 BTC being transferred from Bosnia. Aiden and Interpol Belgrade were en route, but might not arrive in time. She glanced at the clock, 10:15 a.m., only 45 minutes remained to focus fully. Pressing her lips together, she smoothed a strand of hair from her face. Don't waste a second. If Interpol Sarajevo doesn't act immediately, he could slip across the border at Visegrad or Foča. Every moment counts. She typed rapidly. 2. Interpol Sarajevo operations. Subject: urgent. Follow up on BGC_15 BTC. Dear colleagues, we have confirmed that the alias mafia.sara@ and Serb_Godfather_2 is coordinating with Mika Shapov in Banja Luka. Please monitor incoming transactions of 15 BTC to wallet XHG345. On the local SEX with IP address 195.88.21.47. Request a hold or freeze command at earliest possible. Coordination required with local authorities in Banja Luka, CSBF, Department of Cybercrime. Thank you for prompt action. Regards, E. Carter, FBI Geneva, Liaison Belgrade. She clicked send, wincing as sent blinked on the screen. In moments, Lucas and Sophia would have this intel in their inboxes. She leaned back, running her hand along her woolen sweater as if drawing comfort from its fibers, and turned back to IntelNet to continue Markovich's route analysis. At 10:45 a.m., Emily and Milena climbed into Dragon's VW transporter bound for Banja Luka. The route stretched some 200 kilometers, intersecting the Serbia-Bosnia border and weaving through the fog-shrouded Zlatibor Mountains. The cabin, warmed by the dashboard heater, smelled of diesel and faint coffee. Milena looked over at her. "Have you sent the email? Did Aiden confirm his ETA?" Emily nodded, voice soft. "Yes," Interpol Sarajevo acknowledged immediately. "I tracked Aiden's flight. He lands at Banja Luka at 12:30 p.m. "Good. Once we arrive, we'll coordinate with CSPF. Remember, don't go alone. If Shapov and Markovich are working together, they could set a trap." Emily remained silent, gazing through the foggy windshield. Mika Shapov, his name has haunted me all week. He used to traffic opium, now a crime boss in Banja Luka. If we're late, he'll sell that 15 BTC on the black market. At 11 a.m., the car rolled across the Serbia border checkpoint. They presented their Interpol documents, FBI credentials discreetly tucked inside their jackets. Bosnian customs officers eyed them, then waved them through. As the barrier lifted, the road curved across the Dina River, leading straight to Banja Luka. Through rolling hills and the hush of afternoon, they talked out their plan. "When we reach Banja Luka, we'll head to Hotel Bosna," Milena said. "Interpol Sarajevo reserved room 1002. Carter, you'll meet Agent Jasmine Kosic there." Emily nodded. "Aiden said he'll arrive before us, flying directly from Belgrade on a priority FBI flight." Emily exhaled. "I hope so. Everything depends on speed. If he's late, that 15 BTC could vanish." By 12 p.m., they were parked before Hotel Bosna on the banks of the Verbas River in central Banja Luka. The building's yellow-brown facade and sloped tile roof looked timeless. EU and Bosnian flags fluttered outside. CSPF Banja Luka had prepared room 1002 as a secure base. They exited onto the chilly sidewalk. Ascending a narrow staircase, Emily noticed the door's weight as Milena pushed it open. Inside, the small conference room was Spartan: oak desks, a desktop computer, filing cabinets, and a few leather chairs. In the center stood Agent Jasmine Kosic, tall, short-cropped brown hair, hawk-like eyes. He greeted Emily with a nod. "Carter, welcome to Bosnia," he said. Emily returned a weary smile. "Good to meet you, Jasmine. I've sent you the details on the 15 BTC transaction." Jasmine nodded as he skimmed the pages. "We just finished verifying the #S.H. 345X, indeed, 15 BTC. It moved at 11:55 a.m. from the Serbia Central Exchange to the Sex Bosnia address with lock code BH789A. Now we must hurry to the internet cafe Catalina, because the alias Mika Shapov is likely stashing those funds there." Emily took a breath. "Of course. I traced the seed key. The transaction's IP is 195.88.21.47, originating from Cafe Catalina in the Starsvika district of Banja Luka. We need to move fast." He probably left that money in a suitcase and hopped into a waiting taxi. Jasmine frowned. The cafe's CCTV only retains footage until 11:30 a.m. After that, the logs were wiped. We have to stake out the place and wait for them to open at 12:30 p.m. Emily nodded with grim determination. "If not, he'll funnel the money out of reach. He isn't stupid enough to keep a large sum lying around. He's either loaded it into a suitcase and is getting out, or he's off to another hideout immediately." Jasmine tapped his phone. "I'll have the CSPF tactical team ready to pick you up in the lobby at 12:20 p.m. We'll set an ambush. Emily nodded, heart pounding. Understood. Carter out. At 12:20 p.m., Emily and Jasmine slid into a Banja Luka CSPF BMW X5 and sped off to Starsvika. The Verbas River bank glided by, fields and hills rolling past. In 10 minutes, they reached Internet Cafe Catalina, a modest one-story building beside the Starsvika night market. A faded blue sign reading Catalina, Internet Cafe and Gaming Center hung over a rusted metal shutter. White curtains behind the front windows blocked any view inside. Jasmine signaled the driver to halt. His CSPF team, 4 agents, stood along the sidewalk. Emily took out her phone and launched CCTV Finder. "Jasmine," she said in a low voice, "the rear camera is back online. The small back window is slightly ajar, I see light inside." Jasmine peered through the windshield. "Right. That rear window about 3 meters up glows. They're still inside. Can you get a view through the crack?" Emily gripped her flashlight, crept around the side, stooping low to shine its beam through the lens gap. Inside, she saw plastic chairs and old PCs bathed in pale green light. In the corner lay a battered black suitcase. 2 figures moved within, one standing over the suitcase, bundled in a black leather jacket, another crouched in front of a desktop, apparently trying to hide an SD card. CSPF agents eased their weapons out of holsters, pressing themselves to the wall. Emily whispered, "Jasmine, in 4 minutes we go in. When I raise my hand, you give the signal. Be careful, he may have set a trap." Jasmine patted her shoulder in reassurance. "Don't worry. We're ready. Who goes in first?" Emily edged closer to the doorframe. "Strojan with the taser rifle leads the entry. I'll cover from behind, protecting our rear." Jasmine nodded, keying his radio. "Team Alpha, assume position. Team Bravo, stand by." Emily's heart thundered in her chest as she strained to breathe quietly. Outside, the midday sky was bright, but her world felt shadowed. At 12:29 p.m., Jasmine lifted his hand, "Go." In an instant, CSPF agents hurled the iron shutter aside and slammed the door open. The man in the leather jacket, Nenad, bolted upright, startled, attempting to draw a pistol. But Strojan's taser rifle thundered a volley of darts, striking him squarely in the back. "Ah!" Nenad howled, collapsing into the rickety chair, face contorted in disbelief. "I see you've been up to no good, Nenad Markovich," strode in Jasmine, slapping metal cuffs on the dazed man. Nenad's lips twisted in a manic grin. "You're here to arrest me. Too late. The mix is complete." Silence fell over the cafe, the stale scent of stale gum and dust lingering in the air. Emily stepped forward, witnessing as Luka dragged Nenad to his feet. "He still brags," Emily murmured. "Probably thinks BlackEagle's network in Belgrade will save him. At least we've recovered the 15 BTC core." Emily approached Nenad, pressing him. "Where is Mika Shapov? Any other secrets?" Nenad's laughter was hoarse, blood dripping from his mouth. "You are just ants. Watch. In a few days, you'll witness a spectacular assault revealing your little underworld to the world." Emily's eyes hardened. "Don't threaten me. This ends now." CSPF sealed Nenad's phone and suitcase away. Emily bent down, fingertips grazing the suitcase's bottom, and discovered a slender USB drive, still plugged into a port, his seed key. She plucked it free, hope surging as she held the small stick of plastic aloft. "This is it," she told Jasmine. "All the hidden blockchain addresses will be revealed." Jasmine patted her on the shoulder. "Excellent work, Carter. You've saved thousands of potential victims." Within moments, CSPF agents hauled Nenad into a Mercedes Sprinter bound for the regional station. Emily and Jasmine returned to safe house number 3 to activate the Intel Net terminal. She inserted the USB labeled seed_backup.serve and ran the decryption script. Python 3 decrypt_seed.py input seed_backup.serve output full_seed.text. In an instant, the full seed key, over 30 lines of alphanumeric code, appeared on screen. Wombat Finger Galaxy Cactus Runway Season Light. Jasmine, standing over her shoulder, nodded. Now you can trace every hidden wallet behind Mixcoin. Even after the Bitcoin tumble, we can unravel the chain. Emily copied the seed key into a secure note and launched the wallet recovery tool. A moment later, a list of 20 anonymous wallets materialized, showing their balances and timestamps. Wallet A1, 10 BTC, labeled Shapov_new_adder1. Wallet A2, 5 BTC, labeled Shapov_new_adder2. Wallet A3, 15 BTC, labeled official_exchange_account. Emily exhaled, excitement gleaming in her eyes. They can't hold on forever. BlackEagle is finished. Jasmine smiled. Carter, you're brilliant. Not only did you intercept a massive money laundering operation, but you also exposed its hidden trails. Better than we hoped. Emily inclined her head, though exhaustion tugged at her expression. Thank you. But I want to see Aiden now, to share this victory and begin cleaning up what remains. Jasmine dialed Aiden on a secure line. Aiden, I have the full seed key. We can now trace every penny of that 30 BTC and 15 BTC. Markovich is incarcerated. Mika Shapov won't have a chance to escape. On screen, Aiden beamed. Carter, I've seen word from Interpol Sarajevo. Fantastic work. I'll catch the next flight to Belgrade at 7:10 p.m., transferring through Vienna. If all goes well, I'll meet you there. Emily's voice wavered. I just want to hold you. In this sea of chaos, you are my harbor. Aiden touched the laptop's camera lens. I feel the same. Stay safe. I'll be there soon. The call ended, leaving Emily alone in the soft gray light of the Banja Luka evening. She quietly opened the files full_seed.txt and transactions.csv. Dozens of transaction IDs and timestamps scrolled across her screen, marking the end of her harrowing journey. At 3 p.m., Emily returned to safe house number 3 after debriefing with CSPF. The room's plain beige walls, a faded Belgrade skyline poster, and a bookshelf of Bosnian classics greeted her. She retrieved a small diary and settled into the armchair, signing in familiar lines. May 21, 2025. The third time in my life I have dared to whisper of peace. Belgrade has witnessed me fall, and rise again, like a tulip in a spring rain. Every drop of sweat, every wound has not been in vain. The world now knows that BlackEagle's cruelty cannot stand before the smallest light of justice. A gust of cold wind slipped through the window, scattering the faint scent of damp wood. Emily closed her eyes and pictured Aiden's face. He was landing soon at Belgrade, already making his way to see her at safe house number 3. She whispered, I will wait for you. Though storms may rage, the dawn always arrives with hope and our love. Just then, she heard the soft click of the window sliding open. Agent Luka Petrovic stepped in, hope shining in his eyes. Carter, CSPF is bringing you back to Belgrade at 5 p.m. Aiden says he'll be in Geneva by 7 p.m. Tears sprang unbidden, and Emily brushed them away, managing a smile. Thank you, Luka. I'm ready to return to the light. We have won a great victory. Luka's hand rested lightly on her shoulder. More battles await. But you are never alone. Her nod was resolute, his words echoing in her heart. No matter what, I will always stand beside you, Aiden Sinclair, my love and my light. And so, Amelia Carter, the once timid bank employee living beside Lake Geneva, had become a quiet warrior amid the Balkan storms, holding onto a gentle smile and awaiting the day her beloved returned. Chapter 9, Dawn After the Storm. In Belgrade's late spring light, soft morning rays nuzzled through the curtains of safe house number 3, illuminating its modest living room. A sturdy oak coffee table rested on a plush rug, bathed in pale yellow light. At 6 a.m., the wall clock chimed its quiet greeting. This serene tableau felt like a dream to Amelia Emily Carter, coming after days of relentless pursuit, exposure to violence, and surviving Balkan gales. She sat upright on the sofa, sore from Nenad Markovich's stun baton onslaught, yet far less frightened. Over those days, she had pursued criminals and safeguarded her own life. She drew a deep breath, savoring the gentle aroma of Bosnian chamomile tea waiting on the table. Warm steam enveloped her nose, soothing the lingering headache. As she sipped the tea, she relaxed her shoulders, enjoying a moment of calm. Fingertips trailed over the bruised shoulder, a painful testament to Nenad's cruelty, yet rather than despair, a quiet resilience took root. I did not fall. Aiden arrives today. I must ready myself for tomorrow's challenges. Fragments of last night's memory surfaced, CSPF storming into Catalina Cafe, Strojan's taser rifles in the gloom, the suitcase spilled open exposing the seed key, and that key's revelation of 30 BTC and 15 BTC. Now came the final stage, coordinating with Aiden and Interpol Bosnia to freeze every remaining wallet, hunt down the last BlackEagle operatives, and sever all criminal finance lines forever. She set down the teacup and rose to the window. Outside, the late spring chill lingered, but a gentle beam of sunshine now warmed the tiled rooftops and oak trees lining the street. Emily recalled Milena's promise. "You did wonderfully. The dawn will come." That dawn, Emily understood, was Aiden's approaching return, his flight from Belgrade to Geneva and his next arrival back to the Balkans this afternoon. Though new challenges loomed, she felt prepared. At 6:30 a.m., Emily dialed Agent Luka Petrovic's number. He had texted earlier that CSPF would bring her to Belgrade this afternoon. She needed confirmation of logistics and updates on the investigation. After a few rings, Luca's weary voice answered. "Carter. Are you okay?" Emily forced a small smile, though he couldn't see it. "I'm alright, mostly. I'm in safe house number 3. What's the status?" Luca exhaled. "We transferred Nenad to Interpol's Banja Luka cell last night. The forensics team decrypted the seed key and identified 60 more wallets tied to BlackEagle. Most are frozen now. Only a few minor cells remain in Mostar and Sarajevo. Interpol Sarajevo also reported an IP trace to Tuzla. Can you make it back to Belgrade by 1 p.m.? Belgrade police have set roadblocks." Emily nodded in resolve. "I'll be there. Meet me at Geneva Airport at 1:30 p.m. I'll fly in on the 2 p.m. flight." "Excellent. Stay safe and rest a bit." "Thank you, I will." She ended the call, drawing comfort from the knowledge that Luca and the team were still on watch. "I am not alone," she reminded herself. At 7 a.m., Emily took her seat at the desk and powered up her laptop, seeing Intel.net, logged in as ecarter.gbgbjd. She opened the serb_btc_cleanup folder containing every relevant file, seed keys, transaction logs, IP records. She composed an urgent email to agents Jasmine Kosic and Dragan Popovic at CSPF Banja Luka, requesting all Catalina Cafe CCTV footage from 9 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. yesterday. IP logs for repeated attempts to access the seed key from addresses 195.88.21.47, 176.36.22.45, and 84.244.34.19 between 11:50 and 12:30. She clicked send as sent flickered on screen. Next, she opened transactions.csv and launched her Python wallet analysis script. Within moments, a data frame appeared, listing each of the 60 new wallets with balances and timestamps. She recorded the largest amounts: wallet Mostar_2, 20 BTC, Sarah_4, 10 BTC, then closed the script. Although BlackEagle's core was dismantled, cleaning up these remnant cells was crucial. Meanwhile, Agent Aiden Sinclair sat in the Belgrade business class lounge after departing from Banja Luka at 12:45 p.m. He retrieved his suitcase, queued at the Lufthansa transfer desk for his Geneva flight, carrying USB drives with seed keys, transaction logs, and video footage from Catalina. Supplied with a tuna sandwich and espresso, he dialed Agent Sofia Russo in Geneva. "Sofia, I have expedited FBI clearance and all Banja Luka data. I'm on the 14:05 p.m. flight to Geneva. Prepare Lucas for deployment." Better news I couldn't hope for. Gemini IT is standing by for your seed key. We have an 18 p.m. Geneva conference call ready. Excellent. Arrange a car for Carter at the airport. She needs secure transport. Understood. Safe travels. He hung up, looking out at the pale afternoon light. Inside, his chest warmed. Carter is safe in Zemun, heading back to Belgrade. Today, we complete this mission. At 12:50 p.m., Luka, Milena, and Dragan delivered Emily to safe house number 2. She greeted them at the gate, suitcase in hand, relief and renewed determination in her eyes. "Luka. Milena. I'm ready," she said, sliding into the BMW as Luka stowed her bag. He patted her shoulder. "You rested enough? We still need to pick up Aiden." "I'll be fine," Emily replied, though her steps trembled slightly. "Let's go fetch him." They drove across Gazella Bridge over the misty Sava, the city's skyline coming into view, the St. Sava Cathedral dome glowing in the haze. As early evening sun tinted the clouds gold, Emily reflected. "A year ago, I was in Geneva, living a rosy life with him. Now, after facing darkness, I know, with him in my heart, I am never alone." By 3 p.m., they arrived at Belgrade's FBI field office, a 3-story glass building in the city's center. Ms. Caroline Young greeted them at reception. "Welcome back. The conference room is ready." Emily nodded and joined Aiden and Luka in the elevator to room 403, the war room, where Agent Marcus Chen and the IT team were already seated around the oval table beneath a bright LED screen. Lucas Moore rose to address them, clicking the remote to reveal the first slide: Final phase, BlackEagle dismantlement. He began, steady and clear. "Thank you all for being here. Our operations in Belgrade and Banja Luka inflicted a crippling blow to BlackEagle's Serbian and Bosnian networks. We seized and decrypted 30 BTC and 15 BTC, freezing those wallets. However, BlackEagle's tentacles extend into Switzerland, the UK, Germany, and the US today. We eradicate every vestige of their organization." Emily met Aiden's steady, encouraging gaze. He returned a reassuring smile. "I'll present Slide 2, Operation Eagle Fall, our coordinated effort with Interpol, Europol, and U.S. agencies. Each partner is assigned specific roles." On the screen, the global BlackEagle web diagram appeared: nodes at Geneva, Zurich, Frankfurt, New York, and London. A red arrow from Geneva to Zurich denoted a Swiss shell entity used for funds. A yellow arrow led to Frankfurt's crypto exchange. A purple arrow pointed to New York's Shell Corporation. Aiden pointed at the red Zurich connection. "Emily, you will lead the forensic analysis of the 45 BTC in Zurich. Your chain analysis prowess is crucial. Sophia and Marcus will assist with the technical side. Trace all transactions to uncover any hidden nodes in Switzerland." Emily nodded with determination. "I'm on it." Lucas then addressed Luka and Milena. "You two will remain in Belgrade and Mostar to pursue leads on Mika Shapov. Interpol Sarajevo and CSBF Bosnia will coordinate on the extradition requests. FBI Geneva will supply evidence and statements. That will sever the final link. Milena smiled. We have already arrested Eldar Michlovic, Shapov's lieutenant. His testimony will lead us to the last cells. Aiden's voice turned solemn. This is more than a financial war. It's a fight against transnational crime itself. But right now, I stand with Emily, my steadfast partner, and I know we will prevail. Emily's eyes filled with resolve. I won't let you down. Lucas switched off the camera, leaving Emily and Luca alone under the bright fluorescence. Luca's exhaustion was noticeable, yet his resolve was unwavering. Carter, we depart in 30 minutes. Our route: Veredin Bridge, TRG Republic, Zeleny Vanets. Check every surveillance camera at the market entrances. Emily straightened, determination in her gaze. I'm ready. At 8:30 a.m., Emily and Luca slipped away from safe house number 3 in 2 unmarked BMWs with privacy-tinted windows and blacked-out plates. They wore trench coats, wool scarves, leather gloves, and surgical masks to conceal themselves. A CSBF Suburban followed behind. They drove along Zoran Dindik Boulevard toward Veredin Bridge, which spanned the Sava River. Mist still hovered over the water, and the old red tile roofs gradually appeared. Stopping at the railing, Luca pointed at his phone's GPS map. I see his car parked here at 2100 hours last night. He ran along the riverside to TRG Republic. We'll follow this path, using these coordinates. Emily nodded and scanned the embankment. Only a few early morning joggers passed, wooden boats bobbing on the gentle current. The hush made her pulse race. Nenad Markovich might be hiding beneath the bridge or slipping through any side alley. They treaded the flagstone walkway, flashlights illuminating each stone. At TRG Republic, the city's heart, they found empty vendor stands but no passers-by. Luca knelt, pressing his phone to a street lamp to run CCTV Finder. A faint feed flickered. Video, May 19, 2025-2020, Kafana Zuzara's entrance, Nenad dropping a suitcase, then sprinting away into the alley. Exactly, Luca said. From there, he slipped onto Floryanska Street. Emily studied the timestamp. I see him crossing the bridge, moving slowly, scanning the area, then going offline. Luca cursed. He's too clever. He powered off his phone. Now we need eyewitness accounts. Emily launched her translation app and typed. Excuse me, sir. My name is Marco. On 2100 hours last night, did you see a tall man in a black leather jacket and hood running through here? They questioned a second-hand clothes vendor and street cleaners, none remembered. Finally, they found an elderly souvenir vendor. Did you see someone? Emily asked. The old man scratched his head. Yes. A sturdy man walked through, scanning around, then slipped his phone into his pocket and ran away. In which direction? Emily pressed. He pointed. He headed for the Natural History Museum, Prirodno mused, then slipped into a narrow side street called Risevska. Emily's heart pounded. She and Luca hopped into their vehicles and sped to Risevska, a narrow alley flanked by decaying brick facades and boarded windows. This street is pitch black at night, Emily whispered. He could be behind any door. Luca nodded. Split up. I'll take the left side, you circle around behind the houses. Don't let him slip away. They exited their vehicles and crept into the alley. Dim light filtered through cracks in the wooden boards. To the right, a derelict building's broken glass. To the left, a row of shuttered doors. Emily edged closer, gently pushing open a warped wooden door. Inside, a musty smell of mildew rose. She tiptoed forward, eyes straining to see. In the corner lay a battered black suitcase. A tall figure in a hood bent over it. When he straightened, his bristled beard and narrowed eyes came into view. "It's him, Nenad Markovich." He lifted a phone as if checking the link again. Emily froze for a heartbeat, then Luke hushed prompt, "Now." She sprinted forward, hand outstretched, but Nenad whipped around, brandishing a pen-style stun baton. "You think you can catch me? I dwell in darkness," he snarled. Emily flicked on her flashlight, jabbing the beam into his eyes, while triggering her emergency channel. "Dragan. Resavska. Nenad Markovich, arrest him now." A faint crackle responded. Nenad laughed in contempt as he retreated. "You cannot hold me. BlackEagle will conquer." He hurled the baton. Taser darts merged into Emily's shoulder with a searing jolt. She collapsed, stunned, clutching her wound. "Ugh." Nenad sneered. "You will watch me ascend. Your precious billionaire sweetheart can't save you." He slapped her across the face, and she slumped onto the cold cobbles. Nenad bent to pry the GPS puck from under her shoe. "You thought I'd be tracked? I disabled that tracker at 2020, your scheme is worthless." Emily lay motionless, tears stinging her eyes. Every nerve had gone numb. How is he still here? Aiden's en route, but will he arrive in time? Nenad hoisted his battered suitcase onto his shoulder. "You are a child's toy to me. Soon Shapov will arrive, and the world will see BlackEagle's rule." He strode away into the rainy darkness, silhouette swallowed by the mist. Emily gasped, tears falling, then reached for the radio at her side and the discarded GPS. "I was wrong, thinking I could protect Aiden. Now I'm merely prey." Alone in the silent alley, she knelt on the cold stones, resolve stiffening. "I will not surrender. I will keep this flicker of hope." Back at safe house number 3, rain drummed on the roof as Emily curled on the sofa, trembling from shock. She recalled Geneva, the analysis room's glow, where she and Aiden once sat side by side, forging quiet plans. Summoning every ounce of resolve, she climbed the stairs to her narrow bedroom, nestling under the thick blankets. She pulled out the photo of herself and Aiden at La Belle Vie, brushing a speck of dust from his smiling face. Love and hope blossomed in her heart. "No matter how dark the night, our love is my anchor." With that devotion, Emily closed her eyes and found rest as the rain lulled her to sleep. In her final thoughts before dreaming, dawn will come. And so, in the hush of safe house number 3, Emily Carter rested, gathering strength for the new day bit by bit. The storm had passed, but its lessons and her faith in love remained. Late May afternoon at the villa on the shores of Lake Leman, a gentle breeze rustled through the willow branches, composing a soothing melody in the tranquil air. After days of relentless pursuit across Eastern Europe, Amelia Emily Carter and Aiden Sinclair could finally savor a moment of genuine peace. The BlackEagle dismantlement operation had officially concluded, justice had triumphed, and their lives were opening a new chapter. Outside the living room window, the sunset stretched across the lake like a ribbon of purple silk, with faint gold hues embracing the water's surface. The villa, where the couple had weathered so many tense battles, now felt charged with an atmosphere both strange and familiar. Aiden's wrist gently clasped Emily's hand. Where it had trembled before with tension, it now lay warm and reassuring, as if to comfort her. He looked at her, his eyes shining with tenderness. "Carter, we're truly home." Emily smiled, her eyes reflecting gratitude and happiness. "Yes. I've longed for the day when we could simply sit together and watch the sunrise over the lake." On the table beside the sofa, Emily's laptop still displayed the final report on the BlackEagle assets that had been frozen: 45 BTC, 15 BTC, and 5 BTC converted to cash and confiscated for investigation. Everything had been handed over to local authorities, but its deeper significance was this: the criminal power had been struck a crippling blow, the arms trafficking routes severed. The hidden power that once roamed free now existed only in the pages of BlackEagle, a chapter of crime closed, making way for peace. Emily tucked the laptop neatly onto the tray table and ran her fingers over the memory of each data point. In summary, 60 anonymous wallets were decrypted, 30 BTC from the Alvarez case, 15 BTC in Banja Luka, and 45 BTC frozen in Zurich, plus 5 BTC in London. The BlackEagle network is nearly financially exhausted, only a few final cells remain incarcerated. She exhaled, her shoulders relaxing. Now I can finally let go of all my strength and devote myself to family. Aiden drew her into a gentle embrace and pressed a light kiss to her hair, whispering, "You deserve days of calm. I'll be here to shelter you." The sunset gradually dimmed, leaving behind faint rose streaks that blended into the lake's deepening blue. Hand in hand, they made their way down to the small dock in front of the house. The scene was so poetic it stilled them as if all their worries had receded. Emily sat on a mesh lounge chair at the dock, her gaze fixed on the serene water. Aiden sat beside her and draped a wool blanket over her shoulders. She tilted her head and spoke softly. "Do you remember the first time we sat here, last summer? Lake Lemon was just the same, but I was so different." Aiden smiled, his eyes bright. "Back then, you were a shy bank employee, now you're a quiet warrior of justice. I'm proud of you." Emily returned his smile, though a trace of melancholy flickered in her eyes. "I learned that love and justice can travel together, but they require sacrifice." Aiden laid a gentle hand on her shoulder. "Sacrifice isn't loss when we have each other, it's the gift of protecting the one we love." On the dock, the lake's surface grew ever clearer under the sunset's glow, mirroring the purple-streaked sky. In that moment, the two silent warriors rediscovered the peaceful rhythm of love. The next morning, dawn's light streamed through the bedroom curtains, warming the small room. The distant call of seagulls and the misty breeze slipped in through the crack in the window. Emily awoke, eyes fluttering open, and lifted the quilt to nestle in Aiden's arms. He still slept, motionless and serene. She bent over to kiss his hair and then rose quietly. She entered the small study, where a simple desk held her laptop and paperwork. A painting of Santorini still hung on the wall, its scene exuding calm. She booted up the laptop and skimmed her internal emails: Lucas, Sofia, D.I. Collins, D.I. Kosic, CSPF Bosnia colleagues, Interpol Sarajevo, Met Police, each sending congratulations and final status updates. In Agent Lucas Moore's message: "Along with the team at FBI Geneva, we are finalizing the dossier for transfer to Europol. All the minor anonymous wallets have been frozen, now we await the last transfer of a few fugitives." In Agent Sofia Russo's message: "Data from Zurich and London have been jointly processed with the Met Police. We continue to monitor any small transactions related to BlackEagle. Be prepared for the next surveillance phase." In D.I. Sarah Collins's message: "Edgar Phillips has been formally charged with arms trafficking, money laundering, and supporting terrorism. The preliminary hearing is scheduled for late autumn. We have also detained several related individuals in the UK and Germany." In Agent John Reed's, FBI London Attaché, message: "We're coordinating closely with New York law enforcement regarding certain anonymous transactions that may connect to BlackEagle. It's possible BlackEagle extended its network into the US through similar channels. We will continue monitoring and freeze any suspicious accounts immediately." Emily exhaled softly, closing her eyes. "I've fulfilled my role for FBI Geneva in Europe. But, of course, the fight against financial crime, especially transnational crime, never truly ends." She shut the laptop and returned to the bedroom, where Aiden still slept soundly. Sitting beside him, she placed a hand on his shoulder and murmured, "Now I realize you don't just love me. You love my peaceful heart. We, once an underground agent and a quiet warrior, hold hands and continue forward, even though storms may still loom. Aiden stirred and smiled, eyes heavy with sleep. Are you okay? Emily answered. I am, with you. And so their story did not end here, but only paused to welcome a long journey of peace. That afternoon, Emily and Aiden strolled through Parc des Bastions, the very park where they first went on a date. The red brick pathway stretched before them, giant old flame trees standing silently, their red blossoms waving like a greeting. They passed the Scholars' Liberation statue, intellectuals defending freedom of thought, and paused to look at one another in reflection. Emily leaned on his shoulder, watching students file past. Do you remember the first time I came here to submit my economics paper and you were mistaken for some hovering invigilator? Aiden burst into laughter, his eyes alight. I remember it well. You spun around in surprise, thinking I was a pickpocket. I nodded and said, sorry, I'm looking for the print shop. Can you help me? You laughed so warmly. Emily smiled, tears of joy glistening in her eyes. Who would have guessed you were a special agent coming to apprehend me over my paper location? But I'm grateful, thanks to that, you became my first true friend. Aiden pressed a kiss to her forehead. Thank you for giving me a peaceful haven. Then they followed the lakeside trail, the water shimmering in the late afternoon sunlight. Swans glided gracefully, children laughed and splashed, and water lilies drifted with the breeze. The world around them seemed to weave them into a tapestry of serenity. That evening, they returned to the villa, where a warm dinner awaited, pumpkin soup, a salad of fresh greens, and crusty French bread. Emily sat across from Aiden, candlelight flickering on their faces. Soft jazz played from a small speaker. She smiled as she delicately took each bite and then asked, I feel so strange. For the past month I was so caught up in work, never resting. Now I feel as if I've just woken from a dream. I want to start writing in my journal again, to record everything that's happened. Aiden nodded gently. The shy bank bride has become a quiet warrior. You're stronger now. Write down every memory, so that when you look back, you'll know how far you've come. Emily smiled, nostalgia in her eyes. I will. Each day, each second, from Belgrade, Banja Luka, Zurich, London, will become a milestone. They sat together in a companionable silence, enjoying the warm meal. Watching him, she saw the lines of fatigue etched on his face, yet his eyes still shone with a fierce determination to protect her. And in his eyes, she found a peace like no other. As a light drizzle tapped the window pane, they retreated to their bedroom. The curtains were drawn just so, the lamp glowing warmly, the room wrapped in gentle golden light. Emily lay on her side, her head resting on Aiden's shoulder, eyes half closed. He bent down and pressed a soft kiss to her forehead. I promise I'll always be by your side. No matter how many dangers come, no matter how uncertain the future. We will face it together. Emily smiled, her lips trembling. I promise to. Even if storms come again, I trust only your eyes. The room settled into deep quiet, warmed by the amber glow, with only the soft sound of rain outside. She drifted off, secure in his presence. The next morning, Lake Dylan was more serene than ever, the only movement a light breeze through the willow branches. The sky was clear, unblemished by clouds. Emily awoke early to watch the sun rise over the calm water, sunlight dancing on its mirror-like surface. Stepping onto the balcony, she took in a deep breath, filling her lungs with cool, sweet air. Aiden joined her, taking her hand. Good morning, Carter. Did you sleep well? The best I've ever slept, she replied. Perhaps because I know I'm alive, and because I have you. Aiden's warm smile crept across his face. You deserve this peace. I'll stay by you so it never slips away. Emily regarded him fondly. No matter how uncertain the future, as long as I have you, I'm not afraid. They embraced on the balcony under the sunrise. In the distance, a red kite soared freely, marking the promise of a new beginning. Their smiles, weathered by trials yet now so bright, radiated a warmth they'd never known before. A new life awaited, peaceful days by the lake, reunions with family, warm dinners, and the gentle flow of life without fear. Naturally, the duty to safeguard that peace in a wide world still remained, but now, Amelia Carter was not alone. Beside her was Aiden Sinclair, her steadfast husband and comrade, and their everlasting love. The little villa by Lake Lemon lay bathed in early summer sunlight, as the morning rays filtered through the leaves, scattering countless glimmers across the tile floor. Amelia Emily Carter woke to this rare silence. Nearly 2 weeks had passed since the last BlackEagle cell fell in London. Life had seemingly returned to a peaceful rhythm, yet Emily still felt the aftershocks of that long journey soaked in blood, sweat, and tears. She sat up and gazed at the slightly parted curtain. A breeze drifted in, carrying the scent of pine from the oak furniture in the room. Before her stood a small shelf holding law textbooks on financial crime and some French literature, souvenirs from her Geneva banking days. Neatly stacked lay the journals she had kept throughout her travels from Belgrade, Banja Luka, Zurich, and London to now. She inhaled deeply and whispered to herself, "I've traveled so many turns in life. Now, this piece feels ever more precious." Emily rose quietly and descended to the living room, where Aiden Sinclair sat on the sofa, momentarily having set aside his case files, his gaze calm as he looked out over the lake. He wore a light polo shirt and dark jeans, holding a cup of freshly brewed espresso. The two sat side by side at the coffee table, the only sound the gentle clink of cups in the morning breeze. Aiden turned to her with a smile. "Good morning, Carter. Did you sleep well?" "Better than any sleep I've ever known. Maybe because I know I'm alive. Having you by my side." Aiden set his coffee down and stroked her hair. "I won't let anything shatter this happiness again." Emily smiled and lifted a glass of freshly squeezed juice, savoring its blend of apple and citrus fragrance. For a moment, that peaceful taste coursed through her. The two leaned into each other, gazing at the lake where swans glided unaware of the storms Emily and Aiden had weathered. After a light breakfast of crusty French bread, brie cheese, and fresh fruit, Emily retreated to the small study in the corner of the villa. The room contained only an oak desk, a leather chair, and a wall-mounted bookshelf. She opened her laptop and brought up the file final report, BlackEagle dismantlement, adjusting figures, then drafted an email to Agent Lucas Moore and Agent Sophia Russo. Its concise but comprehensive content read: 2. Lucas.moore@fbi.gov, Sophia.russo@fbi.gov. Subject: Final summary, BlackEagle dismantlement. Dear Lucas and Sophia, I have just completed the final compilation of all BlackEagle-related transactions in Europe and the UK. Attached you will find. He pressed enter. Seconds later, a log appeared on screen. IP 136.243.21.98. Login at 12:32. User Starlight FDK_admin. IP 203.116.100.12. Withdrawal of 0.15 BTC at 12:34. Destination SGREX 789. Emily frowned. Two different IPs, 136.243.21.98, Taiwan, and 203.116.100.12, Singapore. Likely using a VPN. Check if 136.243.21.98 is still active. Ibrahim typed again. Ping 136.243.21.98. The result showed. Response: 136.243.21.98 alive, average 48 milliseconds. He picked up his phone and called CSERT Singapore. This is Ibrahim. We urgently need ownership and routing details for IP 136.243.21.98. Please trace its registry. Minutes later, an email arrived from CSERT. IP 136.243.21.98 is assigned to Data Center Asia Pac, Yunnan, China. On 21st of May, its registered proxy server address was in Huai'an District, Shanghai. Emily's breath caught. A proxy in Shanghai. They used a Chinese IP to log in, then executed the withdrawal. BlackEagle's network still extends into China. Nadia cleared her throat. That's a major problem. We can't directly challenge China through Interpol. But if we quietly forward evidence to Interpol Beijing, or coordinate with the Chinese Public Security Bureau, we might apprehend Wei Chen. Emily considered. Here's the plan. Draft a brief, include the IP trail, transaction history, profile of Wei Chen and Rahman Abdullah. Transmit to Interpol Beijing via an anonymous secure channel from Singapore. Initiate and MO specifying expedited handover. Continue freezing the Starlight fintech accounts in Singapore, pressuring the company into compliance. Nadia nodded, determination in her eyes. Agreed. I'll coordinate with Singapore's cybercrime unit to block all transactions. Meanwhile, prepare the dossier for Interpol Beijing. Emily placed a reassuring hand on Nadia's. I'll get it done. Everything must be ready by 1700 hours. When Emily returned to the villa that evening, she found Aiden awaiting her in the living room, holding a pot of Australian green tea. He offered a gentle smile. You're back. I know you had a busy day handling Singapore's files. Emily set down her suitcase, her smile tinged with sadness. There's still work to do. They've discovered traces in China. Aiden guided her to a chair. I trust you'll handle it. When you're done, we'll have dinner together. She nodded, eyes damp. I'm afraid. Once we step into Chinese territory, it will be far more difficult. But I can't leave it unfinished. Aiden held her close to calm her. I'll go with you. Though this trip will be tough, I won't let you face it alone. For a moment, Emily hugged him fiercely, her mind flooded with mixed emotions. I still need him. Even after we've braved so many dangers together, I need his guiding hand. The final strands of sunlight painted the wall purple, fading to the lake's slate blue of evening. They leaned into each other on the sofa, hearts full of hope. No matter what trials lie ahead, as long as we hold hands, peace will endure. And so, their new chapter began, a sleepless journey through Singapore and China to extinguish BlackEagle's legacy once and for all. But above all, they knew that where they were together, they would always find the light. A misty dawn on June 28, 2025 drifted past the window of the Beijing-Shenyang high-speed train, painting a dreamlike tableau of northeastern China. Amelia Emily Carter took a deep breath, trying to savor the cool morning air slipping through the small window. In her hand was a compact suitcase containing all the documents and final evidence of the BlackEagle network. Beside her, Aiden Sinclair's eyes remained glued to his phone screen, incessantly checking emails from the Interpol Beijing Liaison Office, Met Police London, and FBI Geneva. They had convened in Beijing to apprehend the final node, Lim Wei Chen, head of Starlight Fintech Private Limited, who had conspired with BlackEagle to transfer the last 0.075 BTC from Singapore to a secret Yunnan node for laundering via proxies. At 9 a.m., an Interpol armored vehicle came to a halt at the gate of the Interpol Beijing Liaison Office on Chaoyang Road in Chaoyang District. Emily and Aiden stepped inside alongside Agent Li Zhang, Interpol Beijing's liaison agent who had supported them during the Singapore phase. Through the conference room windows, vibrant Beijing life unspooled, but within the meeting room, an intense silence reigned. Carter, Sinclair, welcome to Beijing, Li Zhang said, offering a polite nod. The final version of the evidence has been transferred to Yunnan's Public Security Bureau. Today, we will execute Operation Final Eagle jointly with PSB Yunnan. Emily nodded, her eyes laser-focused. We have the IP node 136.243.21.98, Yunnan proxy, and the trail from Silver X, Singapore, to Ayuxi, Yunnan data center. Our objective is the Starlight FinTech server installed in Kuanmyang, where Lim Wei Chen has been maintaining his seed key server. Aiden added. Once we receive the order, PSB Yunnan will verify the server's location, cut all traffic, and freeze the wallet Starlight FTK_cold holding 0.075 BTC. Lim Wei Chen will be apprehended at his residence, Yuchuan apartment, 12th floor, Unit 1208, where he's been holed up for the past 2 years. Li Zhang furrowed his brow, palms resting on the conference table. We've done a preliminary assessment. Yuchuan Apartments has tight security, keycard access only. He's been using a forged ID under the name Lin Wei Cheng. However, our facial recognition matched him at 95% against the London sex database. His protection network collapsed after the Singapore arrests. Now we need to strike precisely at the designated hour. He may barricade himself in the unit or attempt to escape through interior ducts. But we've obtained floor plans and electrical schematics from PSB. Aiden nodded, his voice low. Here's the plan. Team Alpha, PSB Yunnan SWAT, will secure the stairwell hallway outside Units 1207 and 1209. Team Bravo will breach Unit 12-8's front door. Team Charlie will position at the adjacent window. On my signal, all teams will move in simultaneously to neutralize any resistance and secure evidence. Emily and Aiden spoke in unison. Roger. Additionally, Li Zhang continued, Yunnan police have intel that Lim Wei Chen intended to bribe certain low-level officials with the remaining 0.02 BTC to cover up any missing data if he couldn't deliver the server to us. He's likely at his desk reading email in the apartment. We have drones overhead projecting infrared imagery. Everything is set. Aiden turned to Emily, eyes alight with determination. This is the final stretch, Carter. Despite our exhaustion, we'll force him to confess. Emily smiled, heart pounding. We will do whatever it takes to extinguish this legacy forever. Let him see the light at the end of his tunnel. At 7:30 a.m., as the sun rose behind the Kuanmyang Mountains, PSB Yunnan teams and Interpol Beijing quietly assembled at Yuchuan Apartments, located north of Guanyin Lake, about 15 kilometers from downtown Kuanmyang. 22 stories of reinforced concrete, each floor containing 8 units. Unit 1208 sat at the northeast corner, overlooking the misty lake. Outside, uniformed guards flanked the entrance, unaware of the exact number of suspects inside, only that no one was to enter or exit. An armored vehicle idled at the curb, while 2 drones hovered 50 meters above, scanning with infrared cameras for heat signatures. Carter, Sinclair, Li Zhang murmured, if we're discovered, he may destroy the data and escape. He hasn't left his unit yet, likely operating the Starlight FinTech server. Emily pressed her microphone and called out, all units, prepare. Team Alpha to the stairwell, secure outside 1207 and 1209. Team Bravo to the hallway outside 1208. Team Charlie behind the window flank. On my signal, breach simultaneously. Affirmative replies crackled over the radios. Yunnan SWAT team, 9 members, lined up behind the stairwell doors, MP5s raised, with taser rifles and suppressed weapons at the ready. They exchanged nods and inhaled slowly to center their focus. A countdown timer on Emily's wrist displayed, 3:45 and then 2 o'clock. At 7:58 a.m., Li Zhang curved his lip into a slight smile as he glanced at his watch. 1 minute. Emily nodded, then called, her voice firm. Go. Instantly, the SWAT team sprang into action. Team Alpha burst down the stairwell corridor, pressing against the wall, guns pointed. Team Bravo rammed open Unit 12-8's front door with a shield. The lock surrendered and the door hurtled inward, icy white flashlight beams carving through the dark. Inside the apartment, the living room glowed under harsh white fluorescent light. Server racks emitted faint wisps of heat, overheating air filters. In the center of the room, Lim Wei Chen, dressed in a black vest and white shirt, headphones over his ears, looked up in alarm as the door swung open. "What's happening?" Lim cried, terror in his eyes as a rubber bullet ricocheted on the tile just behind him. Emily and Aiden stormed in, voices commanding. "Lim Wei Chen, you are under arrest for threatening financial security and arms trafficking. Hands above your head." Lim spun around, stepping backward 2 paces, eyes wild. Who are you? What is this? You're..." Aiden advanced, face set. "I am Aiden Sinclair, FBI liaison agent. She is Emily Carter, my colleague. You have an arrest warrant. Hand over any notebooks, phones, and hard drives." Lim's mouth quivered as he stammered. "No. I've done nothing wrong. I am just a fintech CEO. I have no involvement." Emily leveled him with a cold gaze, holding up the USB drive. "Lim Wei Chen, don't play games. We traced the IP. 12:32 p.m. on June 22, 2025, IP 136.243.21.98, Yuxi, Yunnan, logged into your main server. 12:34 p.m., 0.075 BTC transferred to Starlight FTK_cold. Her tone grew icy, each word weighed with restrained anger. "You created Starlight FinTech to launder money, collaborating with BlackEagle to move the final Bitcoin to Yunnan's node. We observed it all." Lim's eyes rolled upward, voice quavering. You can't prove it. You're foreigners, you can't." Emily raised an eyebrow, speaking slowly and clearly. "Have you forgotten that cross-border investigative services have linked Interpol Beijing and PSP Yunnan? They've confirmed every transaction, every IP, every account." Lim's face went slack, his voice hollow. I need a lawyer." Aiden murmured. "Issue the cuffs. Carter, secure the hard drives and preserve the crime scene." Emily stepped forward to seize Lim's phone and external drive. She knew she should don gloves to preserve fingerprints, but in that moment, righteous fury welled up in her. He manipulated justice, exploited countless lives to secure every last Bitcoin. Lim shuffled toward the window and peered down at the drone's beams. He whispered, I was just a pawn. A part of something bigger. But..." Emily interjected gently. "You'll have your day in court. We have all the evidence. BlackEagle's network has been eradicated. You will pay for your crimes." As they escorted Lim into the armored vehicle, the drones rose higher, leaving the Yunnan sky quieter than before. Emily returned to the server racks, powering them down, extracting the hard drives and packaging them into an evidence box. Underneath the desk lay scrap papers, network schematics, login logs, transaction records. She gathered them into a black evidence bag, then turned to Aiden and Li Zhang, voice measured. "Our work in Yunnan is complete. We need to send these hard drives to the forensic lab, copy the data for Beijing, and then depart for Geneva." Li Zhang nodded. "Exactly. After authenticating the data, we'll log the evidence handover with Interpol Beijing, who will liaise with FBI Geneva. You two can rest in Beijing or proceed toward Geneva now." Aiden smiled and placed a hand on Emily's shoulder. "Let's go home, to close the BlackEagle legacy forever." At noon on June 28, 2025, Air China Flight CA 1530 departed Kuanyang Changshui Airport, crossing the Conlon Mountains en route to Beijing. In the VIP cabin, Aiden and Emily sat side by side. Mixed emotions swirled between them, excitement at nearing Geneva and regret at leaving behind a land that had witnessed long, tense nights and moments of clutching each other's hands amidst danger. As the plane flew past Beijing's CCTV tower, the city sprawled beneath like a colossal maze. The Yellow River gleamed faintly in the distance, the CCTV headquarters building loomed tall, and countless windows revolved in the afternoon sun. Emily recalled her first arrival in Beijing, how she had struggled with the rapid Mandarin, her first bowl of steaming urumqi noodles, and then stumbling through "May I have a taxi?" to reach the Interpol office. Now her eyes brimmed with tears. Anger, tension, anticipation. Now it's all just memories. Aiden gently draped his arm over her shoulder. "Carter, each place we've been left me longing. But after every farewell, there's a glorious reunion." Emily managed a wry smile. "We've cut ties with this darkness, and once again, we are returning to Geneva's light." Above the clear sky, they exchanged a silent look, one of Victor's burdened with reflection, dispersing the last vestiges of gloom. That afternoon on June 28, 2025, they arrived at FBI Geneva headquarters, a 3-story glass building next to Lake Leman, where every dossier had been compiled and the final reports printed. Agent Lucas Moore, Agent Sophia Russo, and Agent Caroline Young waited in the wide hallway. When the elevator doors opened, Aiden and Emily stepped out, enveloped by colleagues whose eyes glowed with relief and pride. "Welcome back," Lucas said, his eyes misty. "You've accomplished the toughest mission. BlackEagle is permanently dismantled." Sophia's voice quavered. "Thank you, Carter. Thank you, Aiden. Because of you, we learned how to trace every bite of a criminal network." Caroline offered them steaming mugs of tea. "Warm up with these. All files will be archived here. Tomorrow, we'll hold a small celebration and share our experiences." Emily hugged Aiden, voice soft. "Thanks to everyone for trusting us." Lucas smiled proudly, eyes gentle. "It's the least we could do. Now go home, both of you deserve peace." Aiden placed a hand on Lucas's shoulder. "Lucas, we couldn't have done it without your and Sophia's support. Every step was guided by you." Lucas nodded, emotion in his voice. "You both are the real heroes. Without Carter, I could never have followed all the leads. Know that our doors are always open." Their partings were slow, heartfelt as Emily and Aiden walked through the main hall. They watched each figure fade into the distance, the golden glow falling over the gray stone floor. Though brief, those farewells carried so much longing. Finally, they stepped through the main doors, facing a cobalt sky spotted with wispy clouds. June 29, 2025, 7 a.m., Carter Sinclair Villa on Lake Leman. The balcony windows stood slightly ajar, a soft breeze chasing away any leftover dawn mists. Emily stepped onto the balcony, wearing a cream cashmere sweater, a knit cap on her head, a cup of mint tea in her hand. Lake Leman lay still below, only the gentle ripple of waves against the shore. She exhaled, eyes drifting across to the Alps on the far shore, still dusted with patches of white snow in the morning sun. "I've wandered for so long," she whispered, voice tender. Aiden appeared, a wooden tray of freshly baked croissants in hand. He set it on the balcony table and wrapped his arms around her from behind. "You were up early." "I didn't want to miss a second of this piece," she replied. Aiden slid a finger over her turtleneck. "Me too. Let's enjoy a light breakfast before heading to work. A new life awaits." Under the dawn, they sat in wooden chairs, sharing warm croissants and mint tea. Seagulls flapped overhead, composing a natural symphony of lake and life. Emily placed a hand on Aiden's shoulder, eyes glistening. "I've never felt happier than I do now. After so many storms, all that remains is peace." Aiden bent down and whispered, "I promise I'll keep that peace for you." Before leaving the balcony, Emily retrieved her small notebook, the one where she had recorded each fragment of life and color from their journey. She opened to the final page and wrote, June 29, 2025, Geneva. At dawn's first light, I realize the war has ended, yet its mark remains forever in my heart. Together, we turn darkness into light across continents. The world still holds many struggles, but whenever I return to you, I reclaim the peace I lost. From the bottom of my heart, I thank him, my guide through the storms, who taught me to spell justice with a resilient heart. From now on, we need not remain on guard, for we know that wherever we are, in each other's arms is the truest haven. Finn. She closed the notebook, eyes clear as she gazed out at the lake. In another corner, Aiden awaited, pride and emotion etched in his gaze. Hand in hand, they entered the villa. A warm welcome awaited them inside, the hearth's embers still glowing, the oak table set for afternoon coffee, and a row of legal tomes neatly arranged. Together, they wandered through each room, pausing before the La Belle Vie framed photograph, the memento of their first meeting. Each step was a reminder of how vital this moment was. Peace is sweetest not at the end of the tunnel, but in the light we discover once we pass through darkness. That night, the villa by Lake Lemon was silent. In the living room, Emily Carter and Aiden Sinclair sat together, the fireplace's glow flickering on the warm yellow walls. On the table, a laptop remained open to a Firefox tab, only it was locked, having once displayed criminal finance websites. Now it showed the homepage of La Belle Vie Cafe with a Pebble Beach wallpaper, a deep blue sea under a clear sky. Emily took Aiden's hand, her eyes drifting to the fireplace, the quiet warmth and the scent of burning wood filling the room. I wonder if life will ever return to how it was last March, when I was still a shy banking graduate. Aiden gently clasped her wrist, smiling softly. Never. Like Lake Lemon, always still but always moving, our world can't go back to that innocent time. But we can create a new chapter, one of greater peace. Emily nodded, eyes sparkling. And that new chapter will have no urgent dispatches, no stun batons, no freeze wallet orders. Only love and hope. Aiden cleared his throat and pressed a kiss to her forehead. I look forward to calling you my love instead of Agent Carter. You deserve a life that's gentle. Emily relaxed into his shoulder. I'm ready. I'm ready to give up fork commands, ports, and seed keys. I only want to hold your hand and cherish every moment free from peril. The clock chimed midnight, each tick resonating warmly in the tranquil room. Outside, the lake breeze whispered through the slightly ajar window, rustling Emily's hair. She fixed her gaze on the flickering embers. This is the final coda, a victorious note at last. From the banks of Yunnan to the shores of Geneva, we have composed our symphony of victory. And right now, it's just us, two souls, two hearts, finding a new dawn. The two turned to the La Belle Vie painting on the wall, where their beachside pebbles from that first meeting rested, a silent reminder. Peace does not await at the tunnel's end, it is the light we find once we emerge from darkness. And so, in the gentle glow of that final night, their story found its peaceful, triumphant close.